Pirates are 3-5 overall, 0-4 in the American Athletic Conference. ECU is in action Saturday against USF. USF won the game 45-20. ECU is back at Dowdy-Ficklen Stadium on Saturday. They'll be facing Cincinnati, 7 p.m. Eastern on CBS Sports Network. Coach, thank you for joining us as always. If we just get your thoughts on the game against USF and what you expect as you're back at home on Saturday to face the Bearcats.
Well, obviously we're disappointed in the loss this past Saturday against South Florida. I was very, very impressed with the size and speed and athleticism and just the way they played on Saturday. You knew from watching film that pretty formidable defense. They had been a little up and down offensively throughout the year, but I thought they really executed well on the offensive front. Did a really good job not only with the tailback Cronkite in the run game, but did a good job with the quarterback run scheme that they had there Saturday. And we had our opportunities. We had the ball 4 times, inside the 15 or so yard line, and came away with 3 points out of those 4 drives, 2 turnovers, and got stopped on a turnover on downs. And we got to capitalize on those opportunities, because if we had there in the first half, it's probably a little different situation at halftime. Probably a very tight game, and that changes really everything about the way the game's played. So disappointed our mistakes, offensively and defensively that let the game get away from us. But the players were disappointed. They came back yesterday, had a good look at the film, very positive attitude, practice yesterday afternoon, and then they're excited to be back at home again this week. Obviously, it doesn't get any easier. We got a very, very good Cincinnati team. I think one of the better teams in the conference, one of the better teams in the country. They had a bye last week, so they've had a couple of weeks to get ready. They very sound, all 3 phases, big, physical. They have good speed. They play with edge. They don't beat themselves. They really take advantage of opponents' mistakes. Do a great job forcing turnovers. Just really respect watching the film, just the way they play. Obviously Luke's done a great job putting together a complete football team. So, it'll be a great challenge here on this Saturday. I think our guys will be really excited to play. They'll be excited to be back at home, and we'll be prepared and be ready to go at it. And hopefully we'll have enough in us to find a way to get a win Saturday.
We'll take questions for Coach Mike Houston, please. Press *1 on your keypad to join the queue.
We have a question from Stephen Eichel with 24/7 Sports.
Hey, Coach. Holton only had, I think, 5 rushing attempts Saturday, and I think one of those was obviously a sack, maybe another a scramble. Was that kind of more about what USF was doing defensively, or do you think there were some opportunities there?
Yeah, I think a lot of it was what they were doing. I think there were some opportunities there in the zone run game. It's a lot of stuff in our offense is, you got so many different reads that the quarterback is asked to do. Maybe there were a couple there that he didn't take advantage of. But I thought that USF did a really good job. They pressured us a lot, and made him make some quick decisions. And I thought they had a really good scheme for us.
And I know obviously, you guys don't want the turnovers in the red zone, but USF was able to take advantage of those, march right down the field. Just kind of answering those momentum swings with defensive stops. Is that something that obviously you guys are working on to build as part of this program and everything?
No doubt. When I took the job, I made the statement that the backbone of our program is going to be built with, a sturdy defense and a strong run game. And, in year one, we're working hard to develop a culture. Obviously, we're not where we want to be yet. You would like to, and what we've been accustomed to on the good teams we've had in the past is, when one side of the ball makes a mistake, the other side of the ball, kind of pulls up the slack. And so it's something we've got to improve on in those situations because, when you do turn the ball over, it's 7-7. We have the ball on the 8-yard line going in. You have the turnover right there. You'd like to force a 3-and-out, something along those lines, get the ball back around midfield, give our offense a shot again with a short field. We weren't able to do that on Saturday. So it's one of the many things we've got to continue to improve on.
Okay, thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
Next, we'll hear from Ronnie Woodward with the Greenville Daily Reflector.
Hey, Coach, you go back, you didn't have a sack in this game. It was actually the first time since week 1 against NC State. When you looked at that film, was there anything up front that South Florida did, or was it the quarterbacks being mobile or some of the stuff you kind of touched on earlier as far as not getting pressure?
I think it's probably a combination of both. I thought that South Florida, their offensive line did a great job with protection, very athletic, especially the tackle position. That was a factor not only in the pass game but in the run game as well, with them the ability for those guys to move and pull and execute the scheme that they had. The other thing was the mobile factor there with McLeod, and then obviously Evans was more quarterback designed runs. But several times we had pressure on McLeod, including the first play of the game, and he was able to escape. So we've got to continue to work being more disciplined in our pass rush lanes and also open field tackling.
And with Kendall Futrell specifically, did they double team him or anything? And is that something you'll maybe expect with how good of a season he's had? Maybe teams will key on him the rest of the way.
No, they didn't really double team him. It's one of those things where I thought that they had good athletes there at tackle. They were able to handle him, and he's got to do a better job, generating a pass rush in the situations opportunities that we have.
Okay, thanks, Mike.
Thanks.
Our next question will come from Dan Tortora with wakeupcalldt.com.
Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing well. I know you mentioned the running game there, and obviously in your first season trying to get some things going. Is there anyone that's kind of showing out in that group? Is there any leadership that's separating itself? Is it still a committee in your mind? How do you look at it?
Well, the situation I inherited, your two older players that I had, one's injured and another one's no longer with the program. So I've got two freshmen and a sophomore there that are getting the bulk of the carries. So they're young guys. I think most of the leadership in that room is probably coming from Coach Terrell Sims, who's doing an outstanding job. I think all of us are pleased with Demetrius Mooney, a true freshman who is, just a couple of months into his college career, and he's, shown some bright spots throughout the season. So, it's what we're asking him to do is difficult for a true freshman. It will service him down the road with the experience. But right now, there's a lot of weight on his shoulders.
And then as far as, historically, including recent history, East Carolina's had a lot of success at the receiver position. What you can say about some of the guys that you have there and some of the talent that you've seen through these, first half, a little bit more than half a season?
Well, I'm excited about that group. Again, it's a little bit like the running back position. This past Saturday, I think we started two freshmen and a redshirt sophomore at the receiver position. Obviously, C.J. Johnson has had a couple of solid weeks. Josiah Hatfield did some good things this past weekend. Blake Prohl's having a steady season. And Tyler Snead, made some plays in the passing game and also the kickoff return game. So they're all very, very young, but they are making plays, and they will continue to improve. The one thing I can say about that group is they all want to be good, and they're working very hard. They're going to make mistakes because, particularly with Josiah and CJ, it's the first season of college football, and it's Tyler Snead's first significant playing time. So those guys are learning as they go along. So I'm pleased with them. You look up and, everything I just mentioned to go along with a sophomore quarterback and, the guys that are playing on offense, they're going to be playing for several years. And that's something that will, help us down the road. And right now we're just excited about their progress.
Thank you, Coach. My best moving forward.
Thanks.
Take one final question for Coach Mike Houston, please.
Our final question will come from Craig Haley with Stats.
Hi, Coach. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Real well, thank you. Can you talk about some of the key lessons you learned on the FCS level that you're applying at East Carolina?
Well, obviously I had experiences at a couple of different places, and I think all of the experiences I had prepared me for this job. Certainly this situation I'm in here at East Carolina is a little bit of a different animal than what I, walked into at JMU. But still, the big thing we had to get done at JMU was getting the culture right inside the locker room and getting the level of expectations for performance on a daily basis where it should be. And that's certainly been a critical factor here in the beginning. I think my experience at the Citadel is one that's serving me well right now. It was one where, you had to, do a great job in recruiting, do a great job with development of your roster, be patient, and know that, you're going to have some days where, it doesn't go your way early on, but those experiences are going to serve you down the road. And I think that, the thing you look at and what we're trying to do here is we're trying to build a strong foundation. We're trying to do a great job with the players we have of developing them. And we're trying to do a great job of recruiting well, retaining players, and developing our roster and depth to be, on solid footing. I think that you look at the programs that we have left, and those programs have continued to be successful after we have left because of being on a solid foundation. So I think just the patience and the formula and all those things were lessons I learned at Division II and FCS that we're applying here.
Thank you, Coach. Best of luck.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Coach, thanks so much for your time today.